Good morning, listeners. Welcome back to another episode of Talk About It with Sam, where we discuss today's current events, life, health, wealth, and lifestyle. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe for more content. So much more to come. You can also find me on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Training with Sam. Let's go. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of Talk About It with Sam. Today, I am going to be interviewing Tabitha Thorell. Tabitha is an entrepreneur, and she wears multiple hats. Tabitha is not only an entrepreneur running different several businesses, but she's also a mother and a wife. Tabitha, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Samantha, for having me on. My name is Tabitha Thorell, and I am a mom of 5 daughters. Uh, Me and my husband have been together for 23 years, married for 16. And yes, we run several different businesses. And over the course of our marriage and being together, wear a lot of different hats. Predominantly right now, I'm a speaker coach, and we invest in real estate. This year, we're branching out and investing in some different businesses. So we just kind of wear the hat of investor. That's where we would really are trying to transition as our kids get older. But I've been coaching for 16 years. I started in fitness and nutrition. Just loved helping people reach their goals, full potential. I loved what fitness and nutrition did for the mind. When I started, I was newly married, and then we had babies right away. And so what fitness and nutrition did for me was it gave me a sense of myself again. It gave me clarity. I know if you have moms listening, when you have kids and you get married, you kind of lose yourself sometimes. And so what I did in that beginning, when I would coach people, it was beyond that. It was beyond just fitness and nutrition. Through the years, we got involved with a direct selling company, which brought me to leadership and personal development and helping other people make money from home, which I loved because I loved the freedom that extra finances, even an extra $1,000 a month would do for a family. Especially now, it's that can help put gas in the car, groceries on, the soccer shoes, the basketball shoes, all the things that, kids need these days. And so I always had this desire to help the family financially, but I didn't want to do anything full time. I didn't want to, it wasn't a set out to go do a career, but I knew the talents that I had. I knew the impact that I wanted to do. I had a degree in marriage and family studies. And so I just knew that I really wanted to help families. And I would do that by helping the mom get, fit, healthy mindset, all, personal development. But then I'd also help them, develop businesses, start up different things from home that they could do while their kids were napping, or, just having them, do it part-time from home. And so that's really the course of what we have done. We had 3 babies within 5 years, and then there was about a 7-year gap, and then we had 2 more babies. So the span is a little wanky for some. People think that they were oops babies. They were not. They were planned. It was just the way that, God had laid it out for us. So the last 3 years, we have just been really focused on, growing and putting time into our kids. And now in 2024, like I said, we're positioning and transitioning a little bit more to investors and also growing my business. So it goes from a hobby to a full-fledged financial increase for our family.
Wow, that is wonderful. You should be so proud of yourself.
Yeah. I sometimes am in it so much, and I think a lot of women on the other side, you forget the things that you've accomplished, or you don't give yourself that time for joy, or man, kudos to me, good job for me, because it's always that next thing, right? It's always well, I still got to do this, or I haven't done that. And so I myself so guilty to this of, oh, but I need to do this. And when I really sit back, as I've done a lot of these interviews lately, I'm like, man, we have accomplished a lot. We are doing great. yeah, I have to give myself grace for that. We're definitely, I think because I'm a visionary, and if you have any audience members who are like, they see big picture, they're dreamers, they want all the things, and we can get stuck in that. We can get stuck
Mhm.
in the future. And I have to tell myself, like right now, even right before this interview, my middle daughter, she was just needing mom time. And I needed to come up to the office, but I said, no, I'm going to sit with her and I'm going to just rub her back. And we watched one of her favorite shows. And I was just in that time with her because that's what she was needing. And those are the moments that I really have to be proud of, because it could have been really easy for me to be like, no, mommy needs to go here, throw your fit, your tantrum, and gone. And I could have left. But I didn't. I chose to stay in that moment and enjoy it and not think like while I'm there, oh my gosh, I need to be at the office. No, like I was soaking up. I was laughing with her. It was a funny show. Like I was rubbing her back. We were teasing, kind of, banter. I was in the moment. And I think that is really key of the balance of it, is like whatever moment you're in, be in that moment.
Absolutely, absolutely agreed. And then it's like, not only are you feeding yourself in your entrepreneurship, but you're also making sure that you have that quality time with your family, which is really what it's all about. Is
Yes.
really just
Yeah.
like taking that time for our families and making sure that we really do have that healthy balance where we're able to juggle all of these things and we're able to create all of these businesses and we're able to go on all these endeavors, but nothing is really lacking at home. And I think that for us women, you're absolutely right. I think we find ourselves kind of in like that rat race, right? Where we live in a time where there's so much expected of us all the time
Mhm.
that we forget to give ourselves grace and we forget to praise ourselves.
Yep.
And we forget that we as women, just as human beings, we have to be able to take a break and we have to be able to
Yeah.
sit and enjoy the things that we've done. Um, so
Yes.
and I think too with like the entrepreneurships, it's like you have so many ideas, like you stated, and like all of these visions. I find myself doing it all the time. So I published my first cookbook, and thanks. It
Awesome.
was super
Congratulations.
exciting. Thank you so much. But I found myself, instead of praising myself and saying, I can't believe that I did this, I
Yeah.
did the initial, oh, wow, this is so great. And immediately went into, but these are the things I would have fixed. This is everything that I've
Yep.
learned. And for my second book, this is how I'm going to do it differently. And I
Yep.
had to take myself out of that. I had to take a step back because I heard myself and I was like, oh my, if this was another woman, I would have absolutely not been okay with that. I would have stopped
Oh,
her in her
yes.
tracks and said, absolutely not right now. This is about you. We're going to praise you. And we're not going any further than that. Um, but it's like,
How many times do we talk to ourselves in a way that we would be appalled if our daughters
yeah,
talk like that, or our friends? We'd be like, "What are you talking about?" I mean, even
exactly.
as you asked me to introduce myself, I like play it down. I will give people who interview me, like, it was really hard for me, but I had to write out everything that I've done and I gave it to them. And when they introduce me, I'm almost like, oh my gosh, like, but those are the things that I've accomplished.
Yeah,
Those are like accolades. Those, I worked hard for those. I sacrificed for those. I love those things. But for some reason, and I know women are more at this than men, as far as like, we like hide our light.
hmm,
It's like we like dumb down what it is. And I remember Rachel Hollis, when I listened to an interview, this was a few years ago, she said she used to do the same thing. Like she'd go to parties, and especially like around her family, and she had like a multi six-figure business. I don't think it was quite to seven yet, but she had like eight, like many employees and everything. And people would ask her what she did, and she was like, "Oh, I kind of do this blog thing." And it was like a full-fledged business. And it was like she just like dumbed it down. And so I think it's like we don't want that judgment, or like someone to, think that we're pompous or arrogant. And it's like when I say things of who I am and what I've done, it's never out of arrogance. It's more of like, if I can do this from rural Nebraska, guys, I live in a town of 400 people. Like it is not. So if I can achieve anything, and that is the blessing and the curse, is that we do have so much access to what we can do, with online space and all the great things. But with that, then we think, oh, but I should be doing all of these things
right.
instead of what do I get to do? And I'll be honest. This year is like the first year that I've really been able to come into what I love to do. And it's super empowering. And I was thinking about this today because I'm a big like, I love all the habits. It's like a cold plunge, a workout, lemon water. Like I love all, and I like eat it up and Tony Robbins and all this stuff. And there was a time in my life when like I really was like, I did not miss like a shower, cold plunge. I was doing all the things, making my bed, doing all the things that they said you need to do to be a successful entrepreneur. And me and my husband, in and of itself, like I think that we've been successful. We've definitely done things differently, but I never felt that level of success, right? Like my own business, my coaching business, me, like who I am, was never up to that level. And I was thinking today, and my husband and I were talking about all the habits of like, it doesn't really matter. Like it really doesn't. If you enjoy those things and that gets you focused so that you're going to take action on it, but that's not going to actually produce the income. Like if you have an income, like you want 6 figures, 7 figures, whatever that is for you, 8 figures. But in it, I'm like, but what do I enjoy? Like, what do I really like doing? And I think I would fill the void of what I was called to do, like my true calling, what I love to do. I'd almost fill it with those habits because I like was doing something and it was like a challenge. I like a challenge, just my personality type, so it was like filling that void instead of going over here and doing something that was vulnerably uncomfortable. Like over here, a cold plunge is uncomfortable. Like if you've ever done one, they're not like super fun,
Yeah.
right? If you love them, you're crazy. But anyway, like it's a different kind of uncomfort. And over here, I was going to have to be like vulnerably uncomfortable, meaning I was going to have to like invest money that I didn't know I was going to get back. I was going to have to start sharing my voice. I was going to have to go promote myself, which is really hard for me to do, as I said, because I didn't want to feel arrogant. I was going to have to be over here, but in it, my true calling was coming out, who I was meant to be. I was doing the things that I wanted. And so your audience here is women. And so I think when we hide our light behind our kids, we tell our kids to dream, we put them in ballet, we put them in soccer, we put them in football, whatever it is, we hone their craft. Meanwhile, we're over here not honing ours, not doing our gifting. Now, it might not be speaker, author, coach, super extrovert. It could be somebody who's like, I want to do an at-home daycare. I want to do crafting on Etsy. I want to do, behind the scenes stuff. I want to be a VA. I want whatever. But we hide it because we have to be vulnerable. We have to put skin in the game, and that's scary. And we already give so much energy to our kids and our family that adding that one more layer of energy of, fear, because we've let fear kind of suck that energy instead of saying, I'm going to push back and I'm going to get my energy by doing what I love.
Absolutely. Wow, that was beautiful. And I think that you're right. I think a lot of times we go out into the world, and for me, it's a struggle of, like you said, almost like um over over talking myself versus being humble. But now I look at it in a light where, just like you did, like I think that more people need to understand what I've done so that they can understand that they can do it too.
Yes.
And I think right now my purpose is to show other people that you can do these things. And although your life may be chaotic right now, we can streamline that so it's not. It doesn't have to be constant chaos. In that, if you were to take a step back and really just kind of think about what is your intention and what is your purpose and what is it that you're really trying to achieve here, we can set those goals and you can hit them. And
Right.
then I also like for people to understand that, women like you and I didn't just wake up one day and everything was like all worked out. Like we went through the kinks, like life kicked my ass for 2 years before I was like, okay, I got it. Like I've learned these lessons and this is where I'm going with them. And then I was really able to kind of just like get out there and, like you said, be vulnerable, have these
Yep.
conversations, be comfortable enough to talk to other people and tell my story and encourage other women to do things. Um, so it's not like we're just waking up one day and we're like, oh, this is great. We have this all figured out. Every day is a learning experience. Like, I mean,
Oh,
like you
yeah.
said, we're going into all these like different entrepreneurships. You have all these different visions. So it's like every day you have a new chance to be vulnerable. Every day you have
Yeah.
a new chance to learn something and then to teach it to somebody else. And that's really what the podcast is about, is just constant resources and encouragement. Just encouraging people to get up every day and to talk about it, whatever's on your mind. Because I think sometimes people don't understand that when we have all these ideas and have all these visions, sometimes it starts with something just as simple as a thought. So you have your
Oh,
thought,
yeah.
and then you turn that thought into a conversation. And then that conversation turns into action eventually. So let's
Yes.
talk about this. I had this thought, like, Tabitha, I can't wait. Like, let's get on the phone. I want to shoot some ideas out at you. And that conversation, after a couple weeks, slowly turns into an action. That action turns into a project. That project turns into a business. And I think that women like you and I are doing things constantly so fast all the time
Yep.
that when other people see it, they think to themselves, wow, how did she get that? And how did she get there so fast? It wasn't so fast.
Oh, no.
Um,
Yeah.
and
No,
it's like just being able to kind of break that down, like you said, and just say, like, no, it wasn't. Like, I have a lot of scars on my back. It took me a lot to
oh,
get here.
yeah. I mean, I remember, okay, so to take you guys back a little bit, my husband and I, like I said, we were high school sweethearts. We started real estate investing when I was 19 and he was 21. We knew, like, it was like, I mean, I don't know if your readers are like believers, but it's like when God showed David that he was going to be king, and he was like 17, and he didn't become king until he was like in his 30s or whatever. So, I mean, there was a long span. So it was like God showed us something. And then it was like, you can say circumstances, fear, whatever along the way. We did take a comfortable, or what we thought was like comfortable, my husband, kind of working for his dad. And he worked these long hours. And some of your readers on here, you have a husband, he's putting in, he's doing the work, he's providing, he's working 12 hours, 14 hours, 16-hour days. That was my husband. And that was me growing up. I never saw my dad. And because of that, I did not have a good relationship with him when I was younger. So I swore when I had my first daughter, I was like, I want this, better life for her. And then we had daughter number two. And I remember we were in our new house and we had some rental property. So we were able to move into a bigger house and it was great. And it was a spring and we live in Nebraska. So when it's spring and it's finally like even 60 degrees and sunny, we're like, hallelujah, winter's over. This is great. And it was a March day and we were on our trampoline and my 2-year-old was jumping and I was laying on the trampoline and my 9-month-old was kind of crawling all over me. You moms know you're just kind of laying there soaking up the sun. And it was just like that moment of like, I should have felt pure joy. I have these two babies. Like it's a great day. And I remember the tears just rolling to the back of my ears because I'm laying on there. And I just was looking up at the sky and I just said, God, if you just please give me an opportunity, if you just give us something, I do not want the same life for my girls that I had. Like, if you just give, I didn't ask for money. I just said, give me an opportunity and I will work for you. I will do the work. I will be humble about it. I will give back. I will, serve you. I will serve it. And an opportunity came into our life. And I was like, I'm taking a hold of this. And it was scary. It was an investment. I had to financially put money in the game. That was the first time that I ever had to put anything of the thousands into something. And I had to. And I had to look at it like a business. And I went into that thinking, okay, this is the thing. This is the thing that's going to bring us out of our financial turmoil. And guess what, guys? 7 years later, we will still not out of our financial turmoil. It helped. It definitely helped. And we experienced a lot of great things through that company. Amazing leadership. We met some phenomenal people spiritually. I met some amazing people. We were able to supplement our income. So we were able to do some trips and some things. So I'm not saying it was a loss, but the financial gains that I wanted from it, it wasn't there. But guess what? Again, there's another moment. I'm laying on my bathroom floor, like in the fetal position, crying out and just feeling so frustrated and stuck. And like, God, I did it. I did what you said. I worked, I served, I did it. Why isn't this working? And it's like I heard this still voice that said, you're going to do it again. And you're going to go out and you're going to do your thing on your terms, your own business. And I'm like, but I don't know anything about that. Like I didn't have that background. I didn't have that, but I just was helping people. I was using this other company to help people. And he's like, you're going to do it and you're going to figure it out. And I'm going to be here. And that was in 2018. And it was so scary. And again, I had to invest money. I mean, I had to invest money in a coach who knew how to launch their own coaching business. I had to invest money to learn about marketing and sales because I'd never done it on my own before. This online space of funnels and, Facebook ads and all this like scary stuff. And I had to take the step in faith. And it was always that driver to help our family financially, but not just for the money, but for the time, because my husband, in that 7 years of working with another company, he was able to be home a little bit more. And when in 2018, he was able to make a transition and work completely on his own. And so there were shifts happening. In my eyes, was it happening faster? No, it never does. I mean, I think Tony Robbins says we overestimate what we can do in a year, we underestimate what we can do in 10 years. And so it's like, I just had to trust that process. And it was hard, but there were a lot of lessons that I needed to learn so that I was strong enough when we reached the milestone of 7 figures, when we reached the milestone of 8 figures. I am strong enough to withstand it, and it doesn't ruin my marriage and it doesn't ruin me as a mom, because I want to be able to take those moments like I did this morning with my daughter on the couch. But because I'm able to look at the past, all the people that have been in my life, it's always been the who, hire the right people, go and advance my voice, really hone my craft, serve a lot of people of all those in those lessons. Now I can do it. So some of you on here that are listening, you were like me, you're stuck, you're frustrated, you're like, why isn't this happening faster? Why are these people online? They seem like they're just 10K months, 20K months, 100K months, like, and it just seems like it's coming to them. I promise it's not just coming to them. Like they have been preparing this in some way, shape, or form. I've been preparing for this since I was a little girl. I remember there were moments that God, pushed and tested me. And I think because of that moment, I'm able to handle this. I have 5 girls. So there are so many moments that I have been prepared to raise 5 girls that I didn't even know.
Yep.
And it is really trusting the process. And it's so hard to do. That's probably the hardest thing to do, is to just trust the process and keep moving forward. If you stop in that fetal position for too long on that bathroom floor and you stay there for days and months and years, you're definitely not going to reach your goals.
Yep.
But if you get up and you look in the mirror and you wipe the tears and you say, okay, I I will get past this. Like I can do this. I have the inner strength. I'm trusting just one step. And it just takes one little thing. It could be one little post. It could be one little outreach to your mentor, your coach. It could be one little course that you bought and you actually consume it and do it. Like, or consume one you've already done. Like just take one little action step and then another one. It doesn't have to be like when I was doing all the habits and all the things, and I thought this is going to be the thing that's going to set me free if I have a vegan diet and drink lemon water and cold plunge and say my affirmations and, do all the things. Those are great. And I still love those things and they hold a lot of value, but don't hold so much value to them that you forget the first thing that you need to do: the grace, the forgiveness, the loving, and the joy of why you're doing it.
Right. Right. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. And I think you're right, because I think I did a lot of that for a while, where I dedicated so much time to the gym and I dedicated so much time to being consistent in all these habits, which was great because I needed to form those
Yeah.
habits. But then one day I realized this is all just a small part of my day.
Yeah.
So like going to the
Yeah.
gym is a small part of my day. Like
Yeah.
I need to bust out that hour and a half, and then I need to go on and I need to accomplish so many other things throughout that day. Yes, I need to journal. Yes, I need to do my affirmations. Yes, I need to say my gratitude. But again, those are all just small parts of the day. Like the purpose and the achievement of that day is so much bigger than that. So I think
Right.
having those consistent habits is wonderful. And for me personally, that works great because I like consistency. I like structure.
Yes.
So,
And
but
it
it's
gets you to do
realized,
the other things. It gets you
right.
to do it. It's not like I need to do it. I must do this. I should do this. It's like I enjoy that. And this gets me the mindset. Like I work out every day for the mindset. And yes,
Yeah,
the body just love all that. Don't get me wrong. But like even if I feel really content with my body, I'm still working out because
right.
of what it does for my mind. Like you journal, you get the things out. I do voice journal, or what I call shower journaling, where I'm in the shower and I'm just like saying all my ideas and all my clarity clarity and all my things. Cause sometimes that's the only quiet time that I have in the day is in that shower. So it's like
Yeah.
you do those things and I believe in those things. Don't get me wrong. But I think we hold so much merit to it. Like, if we do this, then this will happen. Instead of like, I get to do this because it gets me to do the other things that I want to do, right? It's not adding another to-do list because if there's moms on here, you do not need anything else that you have to.
Right.
You
Right.
get to do them and it prepares you for the other things. And with the whole journaling thing, someone just asked me, do you journal? I said, I used to journal avidly. Like I was an avid journaler. I loved it. And then we had baby number 4 and she wasn't sleeping. We had baby number 5, she wasn't sleeping. So there just wasn't that morning time that I usually did it. But that's okay. Like I said, like when I get to journal, I get to journal. I'm journaling in the shower. And when I was avid journaling, there was a time and place for that. Like there was an event in my life where I needed to come up with the words in a really hard situation. My sister had passed away, and I was going to say the eulogy. And I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't like who says the eulogy at their sister's funeral? Like it's so hard. But because God had been prepping me to read Psalms and to journal every day, when I sat down to write her eulogy, it literally just came out. It was like I had been preparing years for something that I didn't even know I was preparing for. So there is something that, whatever your belief system is, I believe it's God. God is preparing you. He has been preparing you. And if you just do the preparation when the time, I can't remember who said it. It's either TD Jakes or Les Brown said, when you prepare yourself, the opportunity will come. So when you just are, you might be in this preparation season and you're not sure when that opportunity is going to come, but keep preparing.
Right.
Because when I had to sit down and then when I had to speak it, I had to trust it. I had to trust that it was in me and not like think about the emotion of it. Some of you are thinking of the emotion of what it's going to take to run even a 6-figure business and a household and a husband and have a social life and get fit and get healthy. And you're like in the emotion of the chaos when you just need to prepare for it. Like
Right.
you just need to take that step to prepare for it.
Wow. Oh, this was so wonderful, Tabitha. Thank you so much. You have such wonderful insight and you really shared a lot with us today. Is there anything in particular or any advice that you would like to give to anybody that's watching this?
I mean, for the mom out there, I think, and I've said this before, it's like give yourself grace.
Mhm.
Allow yourself forgiveness every day. You know, we are our own worst critic. We're so hard on ourselves. We will nitpick and negative all day long, but to give ourselves praise and like admiration at the end of the day. And I think that is true forgiveness of like, I forgive myself for raising my temper. I forgive myself for if I thought I was lazy, you know, or however we saw ourselves and just giving ourselves forgiveness and grace for the next day and just like I said, trusting that process and preparing yourself. And a lot of women always say, like, I don't know what I'm meant to do. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know this. Study yourself. One of my mentors years ago said this. She said, date yourself. Find out your strengths, your love language, what makes you tick, what makes you excited. Is it journaling? Is it blogging? Is it speaking? Is it listening, you know, to things like what really gets you so excited? Is it helping people? Is it you know, helping in the nursery at church or making food for people or cookies or whatever, like truly gives you joy. It's not a chore. It literally comes out of you. And you
Yeah.
have that. You truly have that. But sometimes we don't date ourselves. We don't take that time to figure out what our true calling is because one thing I do know, when you do what you love and you're calling, you're not going to cover it up with social media. You're not going to cover it up with food. You're not going to fill that void with something else. You're going to step into it and feel so confident about it because it's what you love to do. But we have to give ourselves forgiveness. We have to allow ourselves to give ourselves praise because when we do it in our own accord of like, I'm so great, look at what I can do. I don't ever say it. I'm like, thank you, God, for giving me a voice,
Right.
for preparing me and being there and helping me trust the process and give faith when I didn't know. Like, I have all of those things. And if you do that, it doesn't matter what you say about yourself because you're coming to it with a humble heart. So
Right.
those are the things. It's like trusting the process and forgiving yourself, and don't be afraid to dream and really dream. I mean, like the sky is the limit, especially if your listeners are in America. Like, ladies, and I don't care how old you are. Like, there are so many. Paula Dean, I think she started when she was like 50 or something like that. Like, it was crazy, like how old she was. But like, no, it doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter your circumstance. It doesn't matter if you're divorced, if you're a single parent, if you have 8 kids or one. Like, that doesn't matter. Right now, today matters. The decision you make today is what matters, because the world needs you. The world needs the best of you. And when you do what you're called to do, that the best version emerges.
That was so beautiful. Thank you so much, Tabitha. I'm
You're
so
welcome.
glad that we were able to connect, and I'm actually
Yes.
looking forward to really collaborating with you in the future.
Yes, thank you for having me on, Samantha.
Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Thanks.